Hey guys, this is the Paperboys coming at you from Ohio State. We're at the Value City Arena. I'm standby side, this is Casey Rajewski, and we just watched Indiana lose to Ohio State 82-70. Indiana just a poor defensive day for the Hoosiers. I think that was kind of the storyline throughout. Ohio State just kind of dominated everywhere, offensively. Most notably, D'Angelo Russell, the freshman phenom. He had 22 points for Ohio State and set up a ton of opportunities for his teammates. He had 10 assists. Many of those assists went to Jayshawn Tate, forward, who was really undersized at 6'4", but took advantage of IU's front court. He was 9 of 10 shooting. He had 20 points, and then the other half of the backcourt for Ohio State, Shannon Scott had a day of his own. He had 10 points, a few rebounds, 3 or 4 assists. Really, Shannon Scott and D'Angelo Russell, that's where Tom Crean pointed immediately. Those guys beat us. That's why we lost by 12. And ultimately, that's kind of why Indiana lost the share of first place in the Big Ten standings.
Yeah, everybody talks about IU's backcourt with the good talented freshmen and James Blackman Jr. and Robert Johnson to go along with one of the best players in the Big Ten, Yogi Ferrell. But Ohio State has a pretty good one of their own with D'Angelo Russell, who might be the best player in the Big Ten the way he's played the past couple of weeks. I think he'll definitely be the first Big Ten player drafted in the coming NBA draft. But yeah, Ohio State is nothing to laugh at either behind or in the backcourt. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell had the best game of the day, 22 points, 10 assists, a double-double for him. And in his last 40 minutes of basketball, he has 55 points, which is impressive in itself.
40 minutes.
Sorry,
80 minutes.
Yeah, 80 minutes of basketball. Still impressive. It'd be really impressive if it was one game. But,
incredibly impressive.
Right, but especially considering he, came out of the game pretty early. He was cramping up, they said. But yeah, really impressive for D'Angelo Russell today.
Yeah, he left with cramps just after he kind of put the dagger in IU. Indiana was kind of trying to make it a game in the second half. It was kind of waiting. I kept on waiting for the defense to finally do something. Actually, I kept on thinking Colin Hartman's going to block now, right? Colin Hartman's going to do this, which is weird that I keep on saying Colin Hartman's going to save the day defensively. But he never did, and then D'Angelo Russell, with about 8:45 left, he hit the second of 2 consecutive three-pointers to put Ohio State up by 12. And he even said, I was cramping at that point. I was tired. I was kind of done. He was kind of waiting to check out, but he said Indiana just kind of forgot about him.
Yeah,
and that's weird. You can't forget about D'Angelo Russell. He's the one guy you cannot forget about.
Yeah, he's their best player. And yeah, you're right. He did put the dagger in them. Every time it seemed that IU clawed within 6 or 7 points, there was always D'Angelo Russell or Jayshawn to put the lead back up into double digits, and they couldn't really take that final push and make it back to even or within 1 or 2 points.
Yeah, I don't think Indiana came within 7 points for most of the second half. I think the final 8 minutes or so. After the D'Angelo Russell three-pointer that I was talking about a little bit earlier, I don't think Indiana got within 7 points again. Part of it was just the poor defense, and really that's kind of what we knew that about Indiana. But all throughout the year, the poor defense has been completely masked by this fantastic offense. It doesn't matter how poorly Indiana plays. It doesn't matter how poorly, I guess, they can't defend anybody, really, and that's just kind of the nature of it. Yogi Ferrell's a great defender, on-ball defender. Kind of struggled today off the ball. That was kind of weird. Indiana's second best, I guess, guard defender, probably Rob Johnson, and he had an injury of his own. His leg, he had something come up with that. Tom Crean wasn't really aware of what exactly it was, but he missed some time in the game. He usually wears a white knee brace. He came out with a black knee brace, which was more significant in the second half. Indiana certainly missed him, but really just it was the defense. The defensive mistakes just cost Indiana. The offense can only do so much, and when the offense is a little bit off, it just struggled. And part of that was because of turnovers. Indiana had 15 turnovers today. 11 of those turnovers came in the first half, which matches the season average. You can't do that, because most of these turnovers, credit to Ohio State, they are really fantastic. But it wasn't, in the whole game, 11 turnovers in the first half is what they usually average. They finished with 15. They led to 26 Ohio State points. But it wasn't even as much Ohio State as it was Indiana just being careless, really. It was sloppy play with the ball. Passes that weren't sharp, that was kind of the big thing. Weak passes, no cuts, which is exactly what they were saying after Michigan State. It was like you're listening to the same press conference. You might as well, if you don't want to go on and watch videos of Yogi Ferrell and Colin Hartman talk to the media, just go back to the Michigan State press conference, because it was virtually the exact same.
it seemed like they couldn't handle the ball well. Every time there was like a strong pass inside for a guy going on a cut, they dropped it and they went out of bounds, and it was another turnover. There was one stretch in the first half where it seemed like 5 or 6 straight possessions there were turnovers. They're really, really bothered by this press that Ohio State put on them, which started after a timeout. I think it was a great job coaching by Thad Matta to realize that you could bother these IU guards by putting pressure on them constantly.
Here's the question, I guess. Maybe it's an easy answer. But did Thad Matta find the formula for disrupting this Indiana offense?
Well, I'm not sure about that because it's just one game, and you don't want to ever draw too much from one game. But and again, IU didn't have a bad game on offense.
No.
They shot 48% from 3, 52% from the field, but the 15 turnovers, 11 in the first half was just not good.
It's killer. And Ohio State shot 53% from the field, 63%, 62.3%. You don't beat many teams when the other team's shooting 62.3%. It doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how good your offense is. You just can't keep up with that. It's impossible.
And especially because, what do we say? They shot 73.7% from on 2-pointers. Like, the 3-pointer really skews that 62% number down. They really just dominated inside. Colin Hartman was undermanned inside. He didn't have enough help that is required that he needs.
He was overwhelmed.
Yeah,
he was overwhelmed throughout the entire game. And it still blows my mind that Ohio State kept on shooting threes. I mean, they had 46 points in the paint. Just keep on going in there. That's what teams have to do. It's the formula for beating Indiana. They're undersized. I don't care how much we can talk about Colin Hartman. Colin Hartman's great. He's a great defender. He's had 3 blocks twice in his last 3 or 4 games or whatever. He's very talented. But when you have big men, and Indiana's going to face 2 of them on Wednesday against Purdue, you just go in the post. You have to. That's how you can beat Indiana. Go in the post. Keep on pounding it in there. If it doesn't work the first time, do it again. If it doesn't work that time, keep on doing it. Because that's really the easiest way to beat this team. You just have to attack the weaknesses, and that's their weakness right now. We saw that against Michigan State when they kind of played inconsistent. We saw that tonight. Moving forward, Indiana's just got to figure it out. And final thoughts on this game?
Well, yeah, Crean talked about that as well in the press conference. The last thing he said was, we've got to start figuring out how to help Colin Hartman down low because we're not getting any bigger. I mean, that isn't technically true because Hunter Musgrave-Frey will be back in a couple weeks.
Oh, that is funny. That is true.
But, I mean, regardless, they still have to figure out, in the meantime, how to help Colin Hartman down low. And, I mean, yeah, I guess final takeaway would be that exactly. You have to, going forward to Purdue, where they have 2 7-footers that are just going to bully him down low, you have to figure out a way to adjust. And now Purdue's seen how to beat IU, and it's through the post.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I guess my final thought would be, we can't let this game kind of control or dictate anything necessarily. Because Indiana's still in a great position right now. They're 15-5 overall, 5-2 in the conference, which is tied for second right now, which is better than I think any of us would have imagined. But I guess the cause for concern is that this game becomes a trend, and that's kind of a scary thing. We know how good the offense is. We know how talented some of these players are. But Ohio State kind of shows you can beat this team. You can bully them around. Purdue's going to try to do that same thing on Wednesday. Like I said, Purdue with 2 7-footers on their team, A.J. Hammond and Isaac Haas. Is it Isaac Haas? Yeah.
Everybody knows A.J. Hammond.
Everybody knows A.J. Hammond. Those 2 will be on tap on Wednesday in West Lafayette. We'll be there. 9 o'clock tip. I hate 9 o'clock tips.
Oh, you love them.
Stupid. I love today's tip. It was 1:30. Yeah. We need more 1:30 p.m. tips. And I guess that's all we have from here in Ohio State. We're going to go drive home in the snow and hope we don't, get stuck in a snowstorm somewhere.
Yeah, wish us luck, please.
Because we have class tomorrow. Do you have class tomorrow? You don't have class
I don't have class tomorrow.
I hate you because you don't have a heart.
No.
Anyway. All right, that's it. Final score today was Ohio State 82, the Ohio State 82, the Indiana 70. That's it. Read our stuff. It's on idsnews.com. And, yeah.
Read the paper.
Take it easy, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.